All right, we want the point nearest the curve y, 2y equals x squared. So that's a parabola. You don't have to know that. You just know you have some graph. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a parabola. And then you have the point 4, 1. Somewhere out here you have the point 4, 1. And what they want is they want a point on this graph where the distance between the two graphs is the smallest, right? Nearest means I'll call this distance d. They want to minimize the distance d. So this would be a maximum minimum optimization problem. Now, you do not know the point on the graph. That's the whole point of this problem. You don't know the point, and we're trying to find the point. So since we don't know that point, we're going to call it x, y. And the distance between any 2 points is, using the distance formula, x minus 4 squared plus y minus 1 squared. That's the distance formula. If you're not sure where that comes from, basically, if you create a triangle like such, the distance between x and 1, you can find that distance by subtracting the x's. Oh, sorry, x and 4. That's 4 and that's x. How far apart are they? You would say 4 minus x, but I'm going to say the absolute value of x minus 4 is that distance. And then how far apart are these two? That's y, that's 1. So that distance here would be y minus 1. If you Pythagorean theorem this squared plus that squared is that squared. So d squared is x minus 4 squared times y plus 1 squared. Well, if you square root the d, you get that. So that's the distance formula. That's where it comes from. Now, here's where the logic takes place. You want the smallest distance. Minimums occur at critical points or endpoints. So you have to find the critical points or endpoints of this. How do you do that? Well, here's a shortcut. Here's a secret. I'm going to claim f of x is the inside function. And here's the logic I'm going to use. If I can make the inside of this small as possible, then the distance will be smallest. So instead of minimizing the whole square root, all I have to do is minimize the inside part. So I'm going to minimize f. So my claim, if I minimize f, I minimize the distance d. So where do minimums occur? Critical points and endpoints. But we have a problem. We have 2 variables. That's no bueno when we're trying to take the derivative. But here they tell us the secret. 2y equals x squared. They tell us 2y equals x squared. So I'm going to solve for y. Y is x squared over 2. And I'm going to put that value in for y. Makes my life mucho bettero. Now to find my critical points, I need to take the derivative. And this is box squared, and this is box squared. So we take the derivative. It's going to be 2 box to the first times derivative of box, which is 1. And same thing here, derivative would be 2 box to the first times the derivative of box, which will be x. Because I bring the 2 in front, these 2's will cancel and it'll be x to the first power. So that's going to be the derivative. All right, let's simplify. F prime of x will be 2x minus 8 plus, I have to distribute the 2 there and the x's there. If I do that, I'm going to get x cubed and then minus 2x. And the beauty here, those cancel, and I have my derivative, as x cubed minus 8. Where do max and mins occur? Critical points and endpoints. Well, to find the critical points, I set that equal to 0. X cubed would be 8, x would be 2. That is my only critical point. That's the only possible point to have a max or a min. So because this is multiple choice, that answer has to be one of these. And if you look, what's the only one with the x coordinate of 2? Right there. So therefore, that has to be my answer. Now, if this were an FRQ, you would test points around 2. You'd make your table, 2, you do F prime, pick 2 numbers left, 0 and 3, and you would find that it goes negative, positive. You would say there's a relative min at 2, but since there's only one relative extrema, it's an absolute extrema, so there's an absolute minimum at 2. But we don't have to do that because they're just asking what's the nearest. That's the only candidate, so it's got to be B. You don't have to test because there's no other possibility. It's multiple choice.